Just believe in it. Belief overcomes.
I don't even want to know. Fuck all of them. I hope they drown in their own shit. Someone needs to go out there and kill every last raptor.
It's his own fault.
You think you know what's going on? No one knows what's going on.
I am going, all right? I have to go.
People are afraid of that.
Most of them annoy me. All of them annoy me.
Halt! Not a step further. No one is allowed into the city without an entry permit.
I have an entry ID. Let me through.
Really? I thought I knew all the ones that had been issued. And you were here asking about getting ID before. So tell me where you got this one.
It's mine. I was issued one after all. Must have misplaced it.
All right. I'll believe you this once. I've got to be wary. That desert gang of outlaws is always trying to find ways to get by me. Oh, and there are some rules I need to tell you before you enter. First, stay away from the generators. Nobody but the technicians is allowed access to them. That sort of security is why we need to keep an eye on IDs. So if you meet someone who's in the city illegally, report them to us immediately, and Eric will take care of them. We can only keep peace in the city if we all work together, and we keep the city secure. That's what was laid down by the Great Council of Nagaland. And the Great Council gave the clerics the responsibility for guaranteeing the city's independence. That means everyone is welcome here, until they cause trouble. So keep the peace while you're in there. Our suggesters are busy enough without you adding to their workload. And that's it. You may pass.
What's a suggester?
Our suggesters are the reason things remain peaceful in the city. If someone causes trouble, then they're either thrown out, see a suggester for reorientation, or both. But don't worry, it's a positive experience that will leave you happy about life. Even so, I recommend avoiding it.
I heard you hold people prisoner if they can't prove their identities.
Of course. Need a valid ID to enter or to leave. It's important we keep the right balance here, and that we can hold people accountable. We've worked hard to keep things running here. We can't start letting people flood in, or the troublemakers will take over. Anyone who tries to get around with ID is given straight to the suggesters to be taken care of.
What's happening in the city?
Nothing right now, but it's simmering. You can feel it. There was something building even before we let those Alp separatists in here. They just lit the touch paper. But hey, we're supposed to be a sanctuary, so someone decided to open the gates and let the separatists in.
How many separatists are there in the city?
Too many. Once an alb, always an alb. They still hit Elex. Just a matter of time before they turn back. I don't know what they want in the city. I'd heard a bunch of them had set up a base in the west of Abessa, so they could have gone there. If we weren't so busy here, we'd have tracked them down and cleared them out of Abessa. Last thing we need is Zakor thinking we're harboring rebels.
Where can I find Eric?
Just go straight down the path into the inner city. You should find him there.
You mentioned the Council of Magellan.
The Great Council, yes. You'll have to speak to Judicator Alois if you want to know more about that. I'm not that well informed on my history.
Who's Alois?
Alois is the Judicator in charge of the city. You'll find him in the castle. He likes to stay close to the generators.
So, you come here from Goliath?
Goliath?
No. I was outside.
I don't know enough about that. I don't know enough about that.
Ah, the gift and treasures of travel, for it brings new encounters. So what are you? Merchant? Bounty hunter? Or a nobody, like most people out there?
I was an alb once.
And you go around admitting that? And you're still alive? How'd you manage that?
Let's just say it's complicated.
Yeah, I can imagine. You anything to do with these separatists? Why are there so many of you guys coming to the Dome City?
Maybe they have the same reason you do.
Yeah, probably not. I doubt the Duke sent him here. But as far as I see it, the way we are now, we should get along wonderfully with each other. I mean, otherwise, you wouldn't have even spoken to me, right?
How do people live here?
Here, Smoke one with me, before you start bombarding me with questions, yeah? I have the best stuff here.
What do you have to offer?
Troll dung, rat scab, it's all first-class stuff. Snort it, smoke it, either way. You'll never forget the experience.
Forget it.
Well, that's your choice. From time to time, you need to open a door in your head and look inside, right? But if you won't, then all the more for me. That done, let's get into the real business.
Business? With me?
You see someone else here? Real business. A proper opportunity. You see, the clerics have had this city under their control for years. And the Duke thinks they're planning to take control everywhere, sooner or later. And he thinks the Dome City could be the starting point for their military campaign. So, my job is to find out if he's right. If there is something brewing that could be dangerous for us in Tavar.
What information have you gathered about the clerics?
Pretty much nothing so far. They've not been very loose-lipped around me. I must sorta stand out.
So, you want me to be your spy?
I want you to find out information. Now I can see in your eyes that you haven't fallen for the cleric's tricks. You aren't simple enough to believe every piece of troll shit you're fed.
What do you expect from me?
All that you have to do is get some answers out of somebody, and I've even got the guy lined up ready for you. His name is Lutz. He's one of Alois's technicians. As far as I know, he's trying to re-establish communications with the other clerics in Ignadon. While Alois will tell you the clerics here are neutral, separate from the ones in the Horde. Go and grill Lutz. Find out if there'll be an offensive soon. Do that, then come back to me as soon as you have any useful information.
So, what do you think? Should we get involved here?
Don't worry, there's no getting involved. You shouldn't have any trouble finding something out.
I won't work against the clerics.
Against is such an ugly word. Let's just say you're working for filling your pockets with shards. That sounds much better.
I'm thinking about it.
Good. And while you're thinking about it, imagine what you can spend the shards on.
Where can I find Lutz?
If he's not on a call, then he's usually working maintenance on one of the generators. Just walk along the battlement path up at the top. It can't be far.
Why do you think that these technicians will know about the cleric's plans?
Because he's the guy that maintains all the communications equipment. He must have heard something from the comms. And he's more likely to talk than anyone further up the chain. I want to know what he's heard. I need to know what he knows.
Seek shelter or to cause problems. This area is a sanctuary for refugees. There's nothing here for reavers, recruiters, or troublemakers.
What's wrong with you? Have I done something to piss you off?
Call it experience, but those in need and those willing to help don't normally question my motives.
Are you always so edgy?
You know you wouldn't need to diffuse things if you didn't get people wound up in the first place. Damn, this is like being back in Goliath all over again.
You're a berserker. Is Adan trying to conquer Abessa?
I don't answer to Adan. And these people belong to no faction. They belong only to themselves. I stand as their protector against anyone who would force them to do otherwise. My only connection to Adan is my magic. I wish it was more, but wishes don't make things so.
Have you been exiled from Goliath?
Exiled? No. There are those in Edan who want to use my magic for their own purposes. Ever since my power started to grow, they changed me. Their mana changed me, and that change just won't stop. I'm becoming stronger and stronger. It is terrifying.
If that's true, why don't you use your power?
I do, I have. But sometimes it overwhelms me. That's why I fight alone. If I lose control of a spell, there's a chance I could kill anyone and everyone around me. The warlords wanted to test me. Try my powers, to harness them. Now I need to find a solution myself. But to do that, I need to study the properties of Elex, to learn more about it.
What brought you out here?
This is a place away from the war. A place people could make up their minds without being pressured to join one of the factions. If the people here wanted to join a faction, they would have. But some people aren't ready for that. Or they've been cast out. They have to go somewhere.
So there's no faction in charge here?
Well, the clerics keep order, but it's not like the Horde where entry means you have to join them. Here you can forget about factions.
I could use someone like you.
Use? There's a word I've heard too much. Well, count me out. I'm not interested in being used.
I could help you.
What do you know of what I need? What do you know of how to help me? Elex marks people. Mana, chems, exposure from food tainted by it. It stays with people. You have its mark on you. You're different somehow. What is it about you?
I took Elex in the past. Is that what you're seeing? Or is there something else?
Took it? You were fed it. You were an Alb soldier. Well, it seems we have something in common. We've both been fed Elex in one form or another. It's changed us. And neither of us know what that means we are now.
What do you think? My offer still stands.
And what exactly is it that you're planning?
I am going to end this war by taking the fight to the Elexiters. And I'm trying to put together a group skilled enough to win that fight.
And you think I'll take part in this?
In return, I will help your quest to find the Elex you're searching for. Then you can improve your magical abilities. You said yourself, the longer you are here, the more you fear your powers will overwhelm you. The longer you stay here, the more danger you put these people in. If you really want to protect them, you need to leave.
Even if that's true, why should I leave with you?
I was an Alb. I know Elex and I know magic. I know the impulses that follow you even during sleep. I know the nightmares and the problems of trying to control power that really wants to control you. And I know what it's like when all that is taken from you. We can help each other.
And it's not like I have other options. Not in the long term. You're right. I'm hiding from it here. I need to get out there and find a real solution. I'll wait by the main gate, and we'll see if your actions can match your words. You should stock up here before we go.
I will meet you by the gate.
Just don't keep me waiting, or you might find I changed my mind.
That was well done.
Well, that was a serious waste of time, wasn't it?
Stop being an asshole.
What do you want from me? To drive me off? Or maybe even have me killed? You don't scare me. Your people are a plague upon this land. Although, there is something different about you. Do you usually spend time with people like us?
I was an Alp myself once.
Yes. You stopped taking Elex. That is rare, which makes me question how you did it.
I saw you.
You saw me what?
I saw how you came through into the dome. Who are you? Why were you allowed in?
That's none of your business.
Then it sounds like you got in here illegally. As much as the clerics claim they control the gates, they really don't seem to be able to stop people getting in. And by that, I don't just mean you. Can you believe it? There are fucking Albs in the city.
Who are you?
Caleb. I lead the Berserkers who've chosen to settle here in Odessa.
You are separate from the Berserkers in Udan?
We have kept our beliefs, but left behind the laws. We have set our own rules here. Well, none of us are allowed to return to Edan now, or we just end up being sent to the valley. As to why they came here, well, the first settlers were sent to Odessa to plant a world heart to expand the forest of Edan out here. But they were cut off from Edan by the Alps, left on their own to survive. And after a while, they decided to keep it that way. The warlords in Goliath weren't happy. But they're stretched too thin for another conflict, so here we are. And since they settled here, others have joined us. Some are escaped exiles, others just chose to leave Edan.
What do you have against the Separatists?
They are coming here, to our city. The only city with a real chance of peace among the factions. If it was up to me, then we would make sure these Albs went somewhere else. They might say we have the same goal, the same enemy, but I don't believe a word of what they say. Who says they aren't spies sent here to deactivate the dome? They can't be trusted.
You want to have all the Separatists thrown out of the city?
Yeah. And you know what? I have already started to make it happen. I'll recruit anyone who'll help get this done. We have an eyewitness who claims to have seen the Separatists exchanging information with the Alps. Traitorous bastards.
Who is this eyewitness?
The Berserker York saw Fenk meet with an Alb in front of the city. Why would they meet if it wasn't to exchange information about the dome? Sadly, York is the only one who's seen Fenk. And now he started saying he isn't sure he really saw Fenk meet an Alb from Zakor. So I have to jog York's memory, or make sure he stops denying what he said. There has to be a way to do that.
You don't think that York could have been wrong in the first place?
No, never. You can't trust these Separatists. They'll betray us sooner or later for sure. I'm telling you, this is just the beginning.
I can make sure York stops denying his story.
You can? Do you think you can make York stick to his original story? It's for the good of the city. So go to York and make sure he doesn't talk. Either help jog his memory a bit, or make sure he stays quiet. I don't care which. It can never be said again that the Albs might be innocent.
There have been so many patrols that got themselves in trouble recently. It's a wonder
You're
any of
new
them are
here in
still
the city,
standing.
right?
Yes, I've just arrived.
I thought so. I saw you come through the gate, you see? Anyway, I want to ask you something, if that's alright. Have you been to Edan recently? To the Berserkers' city of Goliath, to be exact. A good friend of mine is still there.
Who's your friend?
His name is Kral. He's a guard at the Mana Shrine. At least, he was when I left. He thought he still had a chance to save his brother, Grimar, from the Alb Converter. Do you know what happened to him?
No, I don't know, Kral.
No? Okay, well, thanks. And thanks anyways.
Tell me about your life in Udan.
Me? I was a worker at the pit. You know, I extracted Elex from old machines so it could be transmuted into mana. I always wanted to join the Hooded Crows and learn the art of magic, but it wasn't to be. My parents forbade me from trying. My clan told me to stop trying. Not that any of that stopped me, and that's what got me banished. I stole mana from the shrine to try and learn magic myself, and I got myself caught. They sentenced me to exile in the Valley of the Damned, but I escaped. I'd seen the domed city when I was sent on patrol, so when I left Edan, this was the place I thought of. And here I am.
I would like to learn Berserker magic.
Well, it's pointless asking me. I didn't manage to learn anything useful before I was exiled. You would have to join the Berserkers. They won't teach their magic to outsiders. But I don't know if I can recommend that in all good conscience. I left, after all. You will have to decide who you want to join.
What do you want? Do you back the clerics here, or do you want them gone?
I'm for the clerics.
You think they bring security? That they protect us? They say they're here to keep things safe, to keep order. But it's obvious they want to drop their neutrality and extend Ignidan's control into Abessa. Not allowing anyone in or out of the city. That's just the start of it. You think that's because the Alps are getting closer? Or that those followers of Kalan really want a backdoor for invasion?
The Albs are more of a threat than the clerics.
Executions, converters, torture. Believe me, I know all about that shit. But those guys are only interested in Elex, and as far as I know, there isn't any more here in the city than there is elsewhere. So why should they show any interest in attacking a fortified position to get it, instead of sweeping up all there is out there?
The Albs want all the Elex. All of it. No matter where it is.
We won't get in their way. We don't want Elex. They have to see that. They'd be attacking us for nothing. No, it's the clerics.
Hunter sent me.
Why didn't he come himself?
He was afraid he wouldn't be let out of the city again if he was caught.
You mean he was afraid the same thing would happen to him that happened to me? Fuck it. At least the suggesters haven't found me yet. Did Hunter give you something for me?
Yes, I have something for you.
Thanks. I was starting to think that I would never leave this stinking cleric-infested dome. I don't know if Hunter promised you a reward, but here's something for me in any case. You've helped a good cause. Trust me.
If you're here for the food rations, then I'll tell you what I told the other 100 people. Someone must have been making a joke. I don't have anything to sell or give out, so you can just turn around and leave.
I'm not here about the food rations.
You're not? Ah, is that so? Well, then I'm sorry. I have been the butt of a joke that has left me rather angry, and I thought... Well, I'm sorry. It's just... I'm just so sick of it. The belligerence between the berserkers and outlaws. Everything was simpler when I was a cultivator in Goliath. We had laws and everyone obeyed them. Why can't people just all work together?
Caleb sent me.
What does he want now? I testified about what I saw, just like he wanted me to. This whole thing between Caleb and Fink is starting to get on my nerves. I shouldn't have said anything, okay? But what's done is done, and that's that.
If you feel that way, why don't you go back to Goliath?
No. Those days are gone. I left willingly to establish a world heart here in Abessa. But when it became clear that the seedling wouldn't grow, Caleb decided that we would remain here. And whatever Caleb says is best. But now, no. I can't go back. We went against orders from Goliath. If I go back now, they'll just stick me in a cage, no questions asked.
Tell me your version of the story.
My version? I'm stuck between the two of them. I told Caleb in confidence that I saw Fenk meet an Alb outside the city. Could have been a separatist, but I wasn't sure. I didn't see any more than that, but Caleb decided to tell the clerics. He convinced me that the Alb Fenk met must have been from Zakor, but I have no real idea who he was, or what faction he's with.
About the situation with the separatists.
Do you have any idea what I should do? I feel this is a mess.
You should keep silent. It's too risky to guess.
I wish I was as certain as you, but I don't feel right about this. I'm really not sure who I saw Fink meeting. What if Fink really was speaking to a friend? But the chances of an Alb from Zakor coming so close to the domed city is really low, isn't it? No, I don't really believe that it was an Alb. I mean, how often do you see them on their own?
I am an Alb. Trust me. I know when Albs are lying.
You're an Alb?
A former Alb. Like you, I can't go home without them thinking I'm a traitor. I know Albs, and Fenk is lying.
Well, then you're right. The risk is too great. Thank you for backing me up. I've been so worried about the truth. You've helped me decide. Thank you. The Separatists must leave the city. I will go to Caleb and tell him that I won't say anything.